We reviewed a crazy number of RC cars in 2025, 29 to be exact if I'm counting correctly, and what we're going to do is cover the top 5 RC cars of the last year. These aren't necessarily the fastest or cheapest or most durable, but these are 5 significant RC releases that I personally like, ones I was super excited about, and the 5 that I would recommend you take a look at if you're looking at something to purchase here for the end of the year. So 29 cars, huge number of vehicles from a wide selection of manufacturers, all kinds of stuff from large scale, mini scale, bashers, race vehicles, 2-wheel drive, 4-wheel drive, pretty much everything you can think of, and we're going to be going through the top 5. At number 5 is this guy. This is the Team Associate RC10 4-wheel drive. So a never before released, almost like vintage vehicle, because it is based off the regular RC10 2-wheel drive race vehicle from back in the 80s. But what they did was updated. So it is a 10 scale 4-wheel drive, belt drive, does have components, differentials, everything here in the front end that allow it to spin, as well as the rear end, which is still traditional RC10 4-wheel drive part or 2-wheel drive parts here, rear motor, all that kind of stuff. So this is a new release, very much based off a release from the 80s, the MIP, that never officially got to market, I don't think. But what they did was basically take an RC10 and then add a whole bunch of stuff here on the front. It's kind of a mishmash of different things. So it's got a lot of like B74 type, spindles, turnbuckles, that kind of thing. So it is a mishmash. It is weird because it's also a mix of like metric stuff as well as SAE parts here in the back. So does make it a little bit strange, but it actually drives really well. I really had a lot of fun with this. Even with the basic brush motors, it drives really good and had a lot of traction. These tires actually hook up. Now there was a little bit of a issue where the original version did not have this chassis brace, so there was too much flex in the chassis. It would tend to bend, deform over time, especially if you're doing jumps, bashing, that kind of thing. So they did release a team kit which had dual chassis braces, which I would say you definitely would want to buy if you want to pick this up. I think they did actually discontinue the first edition, so definitely get the team kit. But yeah, they fixed all the issues, so made it a lot better, and it does drive well. So at the number 5 spot is the RC10 4-wheel drive. A little bit of a strange release, with the metric and SAE parts. Didn't quite get it right, I think, on the first edition, but now they did correct all those things, and I think it is a really good platform. There were 2 significant short course truck releases in 2025 on the 10 scale race truck category. There's the Tekno SET 410 2.0, which in my opinion took a traditionally race vehicle and made it a little bit more basher. They made it forest capable. They did remove a lot of the race adjustments from that vehicle, so smaller shocks, less tunability with the ABCD blocks, and then also Hobao Racing released the Hyper 10 SC 2.0, in my opinion, did actually kind of take the crown away from Tekno in this class, because it is a basher that they made much more of a race vehicle. So the original Hyper SC came out a long time ago, probably about 20 years ago. It has been updated now, finally, with the 2.0, much more durable. They did correct basically everything I ever complained about with that platform. They also released the TT 2.0, which again I had in a great little truggy, but this guy, in my opinion, is a full-on race vehicle. Hobao also went serious with racing in 2025. They did put together a race program, so if you want to race Hobao in the US at least, you can definitely get support, some tuning guides. They do have basically a team that they are running now, so hopefully that will continue in the future. So Hobao went serious with racing, premium parts, drives really well, traction is excellent, a lot of tunability, all the Arrma changes, the battery layout, all that kind of stuff has been fixed in this vehicle. So this is a phenomenal vehicle that you can race or bash. So that's one of the awesome things about Hobao. They put out something that is really optimized for both scenarios, whether you want to race, whether you want to bash, or do both. You can do that with the Hyper SC 2.0. And for that reason, I am naming this number 4 on the best RC cars of 2025. Team Shiroi surprised everyone in 2025 with the release of this, their very first short course truck. This is the Shiroi, a 1/8 scale electric 4-wheel drive, 6S capable short course truck. Has a really nice detailed body with drivers, netting, all that kind of stuff, and is based on their proven Kagama platform. So it's got all the updates, all the latest generation changes with the triple reinforced diff cases, hinge blocks, and the center bracing all down the middle. Very durable, very fast, 6S capable, premium products throughout, which I think is probably the nicest thing about this truck. It does have all the upgraded stuff like the steel spring outdrives. It does have the aluminum center differential, the all aluminum shocks. So this is a premium vehicle. Now it is a little bit pricey, certainly one of the more expensive 8-scale short course trucks out there, but it drives great, tuned really well, jumps and lands phenomenally. You can bash this, you could race this, if you have 8-scale short course truck racing at your local track. Great release from Team Shiroi, probably their best release of the year in my opinion. They did release a lot of really good cars like the Kagama 4 and stuff like that, but this is my pick for what they came out, and number 3 in the best RC cars of 2025. Another shocker this year was the return of TLR, Team Losi Racing. So that is the race brand of Losi. Losi is more the basher brand, but they released a couple new 10 scales, the 22X, which is their 10 scale 2-wheel drive race buggy. And TLR had been kind of out of the loop, I'd say, the last 5-6 years, not really releasing new cars in the 10 scale race category, not really, having a full-on blown factory race team like they did before. So it was nice to see them kind of return to racing and release this, the 22X AC as well as the DC version. They also have a Trek version as well. And the awesome thing about this, not just the return of TLR, is that arguably this is better than their arch rival, the Team Associate B7, which I also have. So premium product, premium parts. I think the manufacturer on this is second to none. They really went all out with putting this thing together. Quality parts. Doesn't have the breakage issues I think the B7 is kind of known for. Doesn't have the 5-gear laydown transmission, which a lot of people didn't like with the B7. So the 22X AC, in my opinion, is probably the race buggy to get here in 2025. They did a phenomenal job with this vehicle, pre-cut body, all this kind of stuff really makes it a really, really nice experience, and it drives well, drives awesome. I'm a big fan of that. And so for that reason, I am naming this number 2 car of the year for 2025, the TLR 22X. That brings us to the best RC car of 2025. In my opinion, it is this guy, the Arrma Quake, a 2-wheel drive, yes, 2-wheel drive, 10 scale monster truck. It is 3S capable. It is very durable. It is actually pretty fast as well. It does have the stability control. A lot of people think it's basically just a brushless Gorgon. It's not just a brushless Gorgon. Obviously, it shares a lot of the parts. Most of it is the same, but they did address basically everything anyone ever complained about the Gorgon, which was a phenomenal vehicle. It still is a phenomenal vehicle. They did update the body, so it does have all this protection here on the front and back. Even the roof is protected. Very, very durable body. It does have the clipless system, which, comes off with a couple different tabs. So that's pretty nice. They did update, with kind of this roll bar. They did update the motor mesh, even update the tires. So it has foams in the tires, much more aggressive, a lot more grip in the dirt with the chevron, sort of cut chevron style tires. Has the stability control, and then obviously it is brushless with the 3S system. No issues with the ESC at all. Runs totally fine. It even came with a fan, just like you can see there. So great little 2-wheel drive truck, not very expensive either. Super, super fast, super, super durable, super, super fun. And it kind of proved all the doubters about 4-wheel drive versus 2-wheel drive wrong, right? A lot of people refuse to buy 4-wheel drive bashers. And honestly, I never understood that, because 2-wheel drives can be just as fun, just as capable as a 4-wheel drive vehicle if they are set up correctly. And the Quake is phenomenal. It has the wheelie bar, does wheelies, great traction. The tires work excellent. The suspension is spot on. Does fit a 2S or 3S battery, and it is fast and durable. So yeah, for 2025, this is definitely my pick. Best RC car of the year. This is the Arrma Quake. Not expensive. I'll have links in the description below where you can buy all these vehicles if you're interested. If you disagree with me, if you thought something else should have been on this list and is not, definitely put a comment in the section below. Don't forget to hit the like, share, subscribe buttons. Look for more reviews soon. Thanks for watching.